What's going on, guys? Welcome back to BlackTideTV. Today I've got a short and sweet review of DLC 1 Sabotage for Call of Duty Infinite Warfare for you. It's totally not late. I don't know what you're talking about. I definitely planned this. It actually sort of works out as this video is going out exactly in between the two different console releases of the DLC. The DLC came out on PS4 on the 31st of January, and generally the off console, this year being the Xbox One, gets their DLC about a month later. So I expect the DLC to drop for Xbox One around the beginning of March, like March 1st or 2nd, something like that. You got to remember February is a short month, so generally it takes about 30 days. I'm expecting like March 2nd you'll get your DLC. So it kind of works out. All the people that haven't yet bought it for PS4 can check out this review and be like, oh yeah, so he says it's pretty good, maybe I'll pick it up. And anyone that is planning to buy it can start saving up or whatever they have to do to get this DLC when it comes out in March if you are playing on Xbox. Throughout the remainder of the video, I'll be dedicating 1 to 2 minutes of commentary to each of the 4 maps included in the DLC. I'll also touch on zombies towards the end of the video, but each of these multiplayer maps, I will read out the in-game description, I will revise that description if I find it necessary, and then I will review the map and share some of my experiences that I've had on each of these maps as I have been playing on them for the last 2 weeks. So first up, we have the map Dominion, which in-game reads as a remake of the Modern Warfare 2 classic. Dominion takes the sprawling ranged battleground to a partially terraformed Mars. The action is once again anchored by a crashed ship in the center where players can take cover from the many overlooks. So clearly they missed a word in that description. It is the remake of the Modern Warfare 2 classic Afghan, which was a pretty great sniping map. It was always a slower map, and that is definitely translated into this game. Dominion is one of the slowest maps in the entire game. It's really fun. It really brings you back if you did play Modern Warfare 2. They did a good job of making the map look very similar and feel very similar. All the sniper spots are all still the same. Everyone's still hard scoping their asses off from the same little perches and wherever that they were before. They added in a couple nifty wall runs that actually really work with the map. I think the map works fine. It's just such a large map and everybody wants to snipe, making the map play extremely slowly. I will be honest with you, I have never finished a game by score on Dominion. Even Team Deathmatch. Even Team Deathmatch getting 100 kills in 10 minutes is impossible on Dominion. Every single time you play this map, it will go to time. Every time. You will spend 10 minutes on this map, you will not even come close to the final score. Just doesn't happen. The map is too big and everybody wants to snipe. Everyone's playing super cautiously. It's a fun map to play, but you better have the time to sit down and play it. Next up, we're talking Renaissance, my personal favorite map from the Sabotage map pack. Taking place adjacent to the idyllic Venetian canals, Renaissance is an intense urban scale map with a strong linear flow. So I'm a sucker for these European architecture style maps. This is a lot like Retaliation, which is in the base game, which takes place in Geneva. This one takes place in Venice, Italy, or it's based on an area in Venice, Italy. There are these canals that run along the side. If you fall in the water, you die. It's not like Black Ops 3, you can swim in the water, which is unfortunate. They didn't really use the canals to their best extent. I thought that there would be like rivers running through the map that you'd have to use your advanced movement to jump over, but they didn't tend to do that. Instead, they just put like one river down the side and they made it more of an urban warfare kind of style map, which does work for the map itself. I think this is the smallest of the 4 maps that they added in, and it really does feel chaotic at times because the streets in Europe, I don't know if you've ever been, but they're very complex. They're not like North American streets. Most of my audience is North American. They're not like North American streets where everything is laid out in blocks, especially in old Italian like Renaissance towns and Renaissance cities. You've got these really crazy, elaborate laid out streets, and it's very difficult to find your way around. That's what this is like. The streets are all completely mishmashed. There's a bunch of different flanking routes. It's really fun if you take a stealth build and you kind of run around and sneak behind the enemies and find the best route through the city. The third map featured in the Sabotage DLC map pack is Neon. Neon takes place in a virtual city that is partially glitched out. It's a large Z layout map with long sightlines down the center for snipers to patrol, which is flanked by side paths that allow for dense close quarter combat. Neon is easily my least favorite map of this map pack. In fact, I really dislike this map. I thought it was cool at first, but maybe it's just because I've grown old and grizzled when it comes to the Call of Duty franchise, but as I continue to play Infinite Warfare, I get more and more fed up with the fairy princess bullshit, and Neon being in a virtual city, this virtual city is fairy princess capital of the world. There are so many wall runs, there are so many advanced movement opportunities. You cannot go 2 steps without somebody flying over you and killing you from above. It's ridiculous. If you like the wall running, if you like the advanced movement, this map is for you. I personally don't like that, so it's not my favorite map, that's for sure. Last but not least, Noir is a grim look at a futuristic Brooklyn that is under heavy curfew. It's a circular 3-lane map that allows a slower pace along the outside lanes, or complete war in the center space. There's one part of this description that I can certainly agree with: slower pace. It's not as slow as Dominion, where you'll never finish a game within the time limit, but this is a very slowly paced map. It's a lot of buildings, it's a lot of flanking routes, but nobody seems to use those flanking routes, and instead, everyone always goes back to the exact same spots, the exact same overlook positions, doors, etc., and they just sit down and they aim down their sights and wait for enemies to show up. It's very, very campy. I don't know why. It would be a really great map if you had some very competitive players on both teams, really rushing hard at each other and going for the flank, but as it stands with the public matches, you're generally going to run into a ton of campers on this map. When there's a lot of buildings, when there's a lot of corners and stuff, people just tend to jump into those corners, jump into those buildings, and just camp it out. In the end, guys, I think each of the 4 multiplayer maps in DLC 1 Sabotage really fit the theme of the multiplayer experience here in Infinite Warfare. Even as drastically different as they are, they all seem suited to this game. They definitely put a lot of work into these multiplayer maps, and it really pulled off. Maybe if they put that much work into other aspects of this game, it would have been more of a hit. Jumping into zombies very quickly, I think Raven the Redwoods was a great addition to the zombies experience here in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Continues on the legacy of zombies in Spaceland. It's wild and wacky and energetic and really out there, but it's just different enough that it keeps you guessing, keeps you coming back for more. I can definitely see myself playing more Raven the Redwoods in the future. We're not a big zombies channel, but I really enjoyed it. Overall, I think this was a great DLC. I was pleasantly surprised. I was a little skeptical going in, but they definitely won me over with this DLC. The maps are great, the zombies is great. I would highly recommend it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.